Hello viewers, today for the initial checkout we have another set of telephones from the letter H, or the H. This is the Motorola L, as in like, L302, and then it's VT1010013683G, whatever that is. And here's the other informations, of course. Made in China. Ooh, made in China. And it is calling for the 6 volts at the 300 milliamps. Oh, it's the AC. I plugged in these adapters here. I checked the voltage, but I didn't think to see if these were AC or the DC. These are the DC. Well, it seems to be working, so we're going to go with it for now, but I won't use these adapters with it again. Get the phone line plugged in here. Looks like there's a speaker on the back of the base, perhaps for the ringer. I haven't worked with a lot of Motorola sets. They don't really appeal to me all that much because most of them are pretty sleek and modern in styling, and that's not really for me. But he spoke pretty highly of these telephones, if I recall correctly, so it'll be interesting to try them out. Maybe they're a good set. So, of course, they're the Energy Star. Oh, Energy Star! Seems like nothing that has that logo on it ever works quite right. Hopefully these are an exception. It says Geese 1 on this one, and then on the other one it says, it said something. What does it say? It said Honk 2. Geese 1, Honk 2. I've noticed the key tone is very similar to the Uniden. Very similar. The layout of the operating system kind of looks like a VTech product. I'm not sure what the OEM on these things is. I know Motorola certainly could make a cordless phone if they wanted to, although I'm not sure if they really did make their own phones or not. It takes same kind of battery that's usually in the AT&T or the VTech AT&T stuff. This kind of plug. We can get it on blurring to go on there. We can go that shape of plug, and it is, of course, the 2.4 volts. These are 900 milliamp hours, and this is a BT1011, which is a Uniden number. I'm not sure what the battery number would have been on these. It says to only use the supplied battery, but it doesn't seem to specify which that battery is, which is kind of ridiculous. Anyway, so let's close that back up. No problem here. This compartment is a pretty tight fit, and these wires are a bit longer than necessary here. Okay. No belt clip on these phones, no headset jack. Seems to make the beeping sound when you hang it up. No, that does not mean it's made by Panasonic. Let's go ahead and call these things up here. Did I set this up correctly? Nope, I didn't plug something in correctly because I had disconnected everything the other day to make the phone ringing video, and inherently I didn't plug something in quite correctly because this is not working. Okay, well, we'll have a brief intermission here so I can figure this out. My corded trimline phone is not working, but I'll deal with that later. I don't really need it for this production because there's no answering machine. So we're just going to proceed without it. I think it may just be some kind of a cord issue. Really, I'm not sure what's going on here. Been a couple of weird events that have happened in this studio over the years. Looks like at some point somebody has come in here and jammed this plug in the wrong way. I sure didn't do that. I guess maybe this was done by that ghost that showed up in that one video from the GE phone years ago. That's going to be very difficult to get out of there. How? Who and why? Like, seriously. What in the world? Regardless, let's call these now that the equipment is at least partially working. That's kind of a nice ring. Can't tell if that's coming out of the bass or not. It's not. I don't know if the bass is just off or... let's see. Let's see if we can go in here and alter the ring settings. I don't think there's any kind of control on the bass. It looks like it's got to be a software control on the handset. I don't know what that is right there. Anyways, let's see if there's any options on the handset. Setup BS. Nope, doesn't have anything for rings. Well, let's try this. Ringer tone. That's like a Thompson's or Atkins ringer. Okay, so there's really no difference in volume, it's just a difference in how much sound is forced through the speaker that can't replicate it. I like auto talk to be on. I find this a little bit hard to use because there's no there's like no separation with the buttons. You know, and they're kind of small. It's not anywhere near as bad as I thought it would be, but I'm having a hard time using this center navigation button. These buttons are kind of small for my preference. Huh. I wonder what that speaker is for then, if you can't get a... if there's no way to get a ringer on there. That's really odd. Doesn't look like you can page the bass. Does it make a sound when you press the finding button? No. Huh. Well, and I can't fathom what that speaker is for. That is really odd. Unless, is that like a... I'm not even sure that there is a speaker behind there. Let's get the light out and take a look. I think that may be a fake. Whoops, I hope it didn't just break. You know what? I don't see a speaker in there. No, there's no speaker in there. That's strange. Perhaps there was a model with an answering machine or something available. I could see them putting maybe a vent in there for what, heat out or something, but why in the shape of a speaker like that? That's really odd. Strange design. Okay, so the bass is not going to ring. The bass is never going to make any kind of sound because there's no speaker in there. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything in the phone book? Nope, the list is empty. We went through all that already. Date and time. Well, this is the year 21, which has just been wonderful so far. And what was the date today? 2/13. Time, it is 4:04. Okay, how do I get to the PM? Well, that's certainly not intuitive. That's 4:04 a.m. That's not what I wanted. Just to set it in a 24-hour format? Nope, it won't let me do that. Okay. Well, I'm not sure how you get it to be the PM. Oh, there we go. It's the down button is changing it. Okay. So I think we've gone through all the settings there is to see. It's pretty simplistic. Let's call intercom. Okay, these are definitely Thompson Atkins OEM, because that's exactly how their intercom used to sound. The intercom will go on speaker. Testing 1, 2, 3. It's a very quiet speaker. It says honk, and this one says geese. Alright, let's make some calls. Let's start with making an internal call to the testing answering machine so we can see how good the pickup is on there. Or on these, rather. That's awful. Is the outgoing side distorted too?
Message 2.
Is the outgoing side distorted too?
End of messages.
No, it was the fine. Alright, I don't know what the problem is here unless I have continued to plug this in incorrectly. I don't see how I could have done that. Let me try taking this testing line. I'm going to plug this testing line directly into the mains here, which we know are working correctly. Okay, let's see now what it's doing. No, it's still awful. The only thing I could think of is maybe it's an issue with the adapters, because they're not the AC, and they're supposed to be the AC. I don't remember if that letter sent the adapters for these or not. I think he might have. So I'm going to have to look around and see if I can come up with those adapters. It's been about an hour now that I've been searching for power cords, and I have not been able to find one of the correct specifications and size. I found quite a few that were the AC 6 volts, more than I thought. It's weird because I almost had never heard of an AC to AC adapter until I started getting some of the older AT&T stuff from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it seemed like a lot of that stuff used it. And now I was just looking through some of the newer VTech and AT&T stuff, and there's a pretty good mix of AC and DC adapters, like AC to AC and then AC to DC, which is stupid. So there we go, yet another reason why Uniden is better, because they always just use a normal AC to DC voltage adapter. It's normal, it's easy to find, it's pretty standard. Anyways, sometimes I wonder why I even bother with any other phone besides Uniden. I have this here, which I thought was a male end, so I could plug an adapter into it, but it's not. So what I'm going to try to do is, I have a DC, or an AC to AC adapter here, which is of the correct specification. I'm going to try to utilize this adapter. I'm going to plug in the phone line here, and I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to try to just, jam this into the center. That may or may not be making contact, I don't know. And then put this here, and I'm going to see if somehow I can maybe go like this and get a connection here. And this is a pretty crummy connection if it's going to make one, but it may work. Let's see. Still searching. I don't know why it says list empty. That doesn't make any sense. What list? I'm not sure if this is making a connection or not. It may not be. Still says searching. Oh, it just found it. Okay, so if I could get this to stay, which is going to be difficult. Alright, so this will work. I just have to figure out how to get this to stay in place long enough, or well enough, to cooperate here, and it's going to be quite a challenge. So I'm going to work on that off video, and then I'll come back, and hopefully then we can finish up this video. I got a lot of things I wanted to do today, and now because I haven't been able to find this adapter, I have not gotten a single item completed, not even this video yet. I think this will get us through the video. This is kind of connected on there like that, and this just has to get shoved into the middle. And let's see if this works. Okay, I think that is going to work. Obviously it's not aesthetically pleasing, and it's not going to be quite in the video frame correctly, but we're going to have to just deal with it. Okay, it's connected now, and the phone no longer sounds atrocious. Okay, so now we can proceed with the video. I'll record the testing messages now.
3 new messages and 15 old messages. Message 1.
Wow, that was infuriating.
Message 2.
This is testing message number 1. I forget which handset this is. I'm too irritated to care. I am leaving the studio now and am moving to the other side of the room to make sure that the range on this phone is acceptable. I can't tell right now if it's clear or not. We'll find out absolutely zero side tone on these phones, which I don't like. I guess there's a little bit, but not anything that's really audible while you're speaking. Okay, so now I'm back in the studio. I'm going to switch it over to the speakerphone now. Okay, it's on the speakerphone now, and I'm speaking at approximately the same volume and same distance as I was before. Now I'm speaking a little bit further away from it. Now the telephone has been set down on the table, and I'm about a foot away from it. I'm moving back to about a foot and a half now. Looks like the testing engine machine is still recording, so hopefully the pickup is clear. Going to keep moving back. Now I'm about 3 feet away from it, about 4 feet away from it. And this is about as far as I think would be reasonable to go from a speakerphone like this. And the machine is still recording, so the pickup must be pretty decent.
Message 3.
This is handset number 2, the Honk handset. And this is a test on regular phone mode, they're calling it. And this is now SPKR, speakerphone layout, whatever you want to call it. Testing 1, 2, 3. And I'll put this back in the cradle to hang it up so you can hear what that sounds like. Looks like it didn't hang up. That is because that cradle no longer has a power supply in it, because it wants the AC. Well, I'll try to get it into the base, and hopefully that doesn't drop the connection for the power cord.
End of messages.
That wasn't bad at all. In fact, it was a little better than I was expecting it to be. It got kind of quiet as I was further away, but when I was within a reasonable distance, it seemed to work just fine for a handset speakerphone. Let's also not forget that this appears to be a Thomson or Atkins product, and so the expectations aren't that high. So let's make an outside call now. I'll switch this over to the mains.
Greetings from Jones Family Farms, and we have some exciting news now that February has arrived. A new winter offering. Our wine stand is open for business. And this is a very convenient way to purchase your favorite Jones wine for the weekend. The wine stand is adjacent to our parking lot at our winery location.
Okay, that appears to be working correctly on both of the earpieces. I don't think we have any options here. I just have hold. There's no equalizations or anything like that. Alright, let's go to the speakerphone.
Syrup and memorable farm gift items. The website is simply jonesfamilyfarms.com, and the link to our online wine store if you wish to pre-order. As for the winery courtyard, we plan to open that in April, so stay tuned. Again, the jonesfamilyfarms.com website has a great deal of information, but if you do need to reach us, you can email us at joneswinery@jonesfamilyfarms.com or leave a clear message at...
That's okay. It's not a great speakerphone, but it's acceptable. So, other than the adapter freak show, which of course is probably introducing bias into my feelings about the phone, it's not bad. You know, I wasn't expecting a whole lot for whatever reason. The last time I worked with a Motorola phone, it was just kind of mediocre. And these, I would kind of say the same thing. You know, there's really, I don't know what these would have cost, but there's really no features to speak of, so it would have had to have been pretty inexpensive. The ring volume definitely leaves something to be desired. No, but the call clarity seems to be just fine, so ultimately it accomplishes its purpose okay. I suppose time will tell how long the screen will last. I kind of like that it replaces the banner with the time after a while, because the time is a better use of the standby screen. But there's plenty of lines on here. There's no reason that they couldn't have had both. There's no reason it couldn't just stay down there as well. So, anyways, that's it for the Motorola. The presentation is just totally screwed up now because of the Adapter Freak Show. But anyways, that was it for the Motorola L302 DEC6 telephone, the initial checkout of it, and the Adapter Freak Show.